Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are talking about another very important topic to help us succeed in life, but that is unfortunately not taught to us, and that is emotional intelligence. Do you know of someone who is always having arguments? They are blaming others, not really listening to what others have to say, and they're judging others. That is someone who has low emotional intelligence. Low emotional intelligence is the inability to perceive emotions both in ourselves and in others, and then to use them to help us guide in our thinking and actions. Emotional intelligence is a skill that is needed to help us succeed no matter where we are in life, and it applies to both our career, our business life, and our personal lives as well. We are taught to pursue IQ, that is the intellectual pursuit, the cognitive skills, but EQ, the counterpart, the emotional intelligence, is as important, if not more important at times. You might know of someone who is, for example, great at coding. They can sit and write awesome code, but they are not able to collaborate with others. They can't work in a team, or when time comes to take the role of a lead, they don't have what it takes. So who do you think would be more successful in life? A person who can just sit down and do their things and not deal with people, or someone who is good enough but then they can smash it, they can inspire others, they can lead the team and get the momentum build and help others succeed as well? It's likely that it's the second person. And of course, I'm not saying that the first person will not succeed, but imagine if the second person who has both awesome IQ and then develop a great EQ as well. That is like the formula for awesomeness, when you can smash both in terms of intellectual and emotional intelligence. The concept of emotional intelligence was first popularized by Daniel Goleman, an American psychologist who wrote his book in the 1990s, and then that triggered the interest of the whole scientific community on this topic. Daniel Goleman tells us that there are 5 traits of emotional intelligence, and those are: the first is about the self-awareness. We start with self, so understanding ourselves. The second is the self-regulation, so once we understand, we need to regulate ourselves. The third is motivation, and then this is about the self, and then once we have mastered the self, it's about others. So the fourth is the social awareness, and then the fifth is about the social regulation, the social skills. So we are going to look at all these 5 in details and understand how we can improve in all these areas, because even if you are not at the lowest spectrum of the emotional intelligence, there is always room for improvement. Because imagine, once you have high emotional intelligence, it means that you can stay calm even in the most stressful situations. You can lead teams, inspire others to actions, because you listen to them. You do not offload your emotions onto them, and then you genuinely develop that interest in people, and you create a win-win situation for everyone by nurturing the most healthy relationships. Before we move on to talk about all the 5 traits, I just want to remind you to not forget to like and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on the future content, and it also helps me to keep on coming up with more insightful content for you in the future. So now let's look at the first trait to help us develop our emotional intelligence skills, and that is self-awareness. Self awareness is about understanding ourselves, developing a deeper connection with our inner worlds. And it starts by understanding what we are really up to, because we live so much on autopilot, from checking Instagram, Facebook, to scrolling on YouTube and binge watching videos, and Netflix, then texting to our BFFs and checking emails, and again doing these things on a loop, picking up our phones hundreds of times throughout the day without understanding really why. It's just on autopilot, pick up the phone, check messages, and then do the same thing. So while no denying that social media and all this connected world is awesome at keeping us more connected and informed, it's also creating lots more distractions. We are less and less connected with our inner world. So to develop self-awareness, start by just putting your phone away for a while and inspecting yourself. Understand what you are feeling really at the moment. Were you feeling jealousy because you were scrolling through Instagram a while ago? Or are you feeling some other emotions? Is it some insecurities or some anxiety that you are keeping at bay but keeping yourself engaged with these apps? Why are you hooked? Right. So start by having a journey in your inner world. So once you have that, inspect the feeling, you know it's jealousy, then dig deeper. Where is that jealousy coming from? If you were angry, what triggered that anger? Dig deeper, and then just get to know yourself better. As Mark Manson, the author of the famous book The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, has this word emotional BS. So know your emotional BS. For example, I know that I tend to get impatient when people don't get to the point, and they'll have a rant, long story to get to the point. Three things that we can do to help us improve self awareness and develop a better understanding of ourselves are: first, journaling. Journaling has to be proven to be really helpful in help us understanding what we are going through, what we are feeling, and helping us process all our emotions. Whether you want to use pen and paper or use an app, you can journal, set some time in the morning or in the evening before going to bed. The second is meditation. Meditation has been scientifically proven to be really, really helpful and a game changer in helping us improve in so many areas, including self awareness. Set time in the morning to meditate. I start my mornings with meditations and end my day with meditations as well. You can find tons of information online on how to do it. I'm not going to go into the details of that, but highly recommend. Even if it's 10-15 minutes a day, it will be a game changer. The third is asking for feedback. Sometimes we are not able to do it ourselves, and then there is no shame or harm in asking the people closest to us to help us understand our emotional triggers or the things where we can improve. So do ask for feedbacks to your closest friends or family and people who you trust to help you get a better understanding of yourself. Once we have developed better self awareness, we need to work on self regulation. We need to dig deeper into those emotions and also then take the right actions. We need to learn to respond instead of reacting from emotions, because emotional intelligence is not about denying our feelings, but rather helping us with inner management, becoming our own manager. So approach those feelings with curiosity, understand where they're coming from. And you know the magical part about it? When you inspect your emotions, all of a sudden it will be like they will lose their power over you. So, for example, if you sit by yourself, understand, dig deeper into why you are feeling sad, why you are feeling angry, that emotion will lose its power. Try it. It's awesome, because in that way emotions will not control you, but rather you will control your emotions, and there is power in that. So develop that curiosity. Ask yourself where those emotions are coming from, because emotions are an indication for us that something needs our attention and care. Anger, for example, is an emotion that is often an indication that something that we deeply value, our beliefs, are being challenged. So do you understand what are your beliefs and values that are getting challenged? If not, you'll not be able to respond in situations that tend to trigger your anger buttons. Once we become our own inner managers, means that we can calmly respond to situations instead of reacting impulsively, because we understand what is driving us, or why we react in certain way to certain situations. Two ways to help us improve our self-regulation is first knowing our values, because values then determine everything, how we act, and the decisions we make. Understand your values, what are the most important things to you in life, and why is it so. Go to the deeper level and really understand also the why behind those values. And the second is practice being calm. if, and one of the ways of doing is going back. Meditation can really help us to stay calm. Or also, if not meditation, just take few deep breaths whenever you are about to get triggered. Just calmly breathe in and breathe out. It will really help you. Try it. Yeah, whenever you're feeling anxious or any other emotion that where you need to regulate yourself, breathing can really help a lot. The third thing we need to work on to improve our emotional intelligence is developing intrinsic motivation. Highly emotional intelligent people are not driven by extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is about things like fame and money, while intrinsic motivation is about things that are in your control. That is like chasing flow states, or creating things because you find beauty, joy in creating, and creating value. It's things that are within your control. So for example, Bezos didn't go out to create Amazon because he wanted to be the richest person on the planet. No, money and the fame and all the recognition, that was a side effect of the value he wanted to create in the world. So his focus was in creating awesome products and delivering the world's best customer service. So the other things come as a byproduct once you provide awesome value, uh, but don't chase them directly. So, so intrinsic motivation is joyously going after your goals because you are loving the journey. To improve our motivation, three things that we can do. The first is just taking action, because motivation is not something we wait for. It's not that I'll do something when motivation comes, because it will not. You have to take action. It doesn't mean that highly emotional intelligent people are motivated all the time. When you take action, it automatically creates momentum. Then that brings motivation. Things you can do, for example, if you don't feel like going to the gym, just start by putting on the gym clothes, and the next action will follow up. If you need to write something, let's say you have to write an article but you're not feeling really motivated, then just open a doc and start by creating a new document and write the title of the article you want to write about. Just take the minimal action in the direction of your goal. The second is visualization. That's tremendously helpful. For example, I love to start my mornings by visualizing how my rest of the day will be. For example, I visualize I'll be sitting down recording my YouTube video. So just run the movie in your mind of the things that you will be doing. The third thing that can really help us with motivation is having accountability partners, having a set of friends, because as they say, we are the average of the five people we spend the most time with. So if you can have an accountability buddy with your friends, just don't talk about things that don't add value. Start by making them accountable for the great habits that you want to build or the great goals you want to achieve as well. The whole point of emotional intelligence is to help us develop healthier relationships, whether it's romantic, business, or family, friends, or social circle in general. And that starts by understanding others. We need to understand their emotions, where they are coming from, being able to learn what motivates them or how they react or why they react in a certain way, being able to put ourselves in their shoes. And that comes to us when we develop empathy. Empathy is a key component in helping us develop the social awareness. Once we develop empathy, it helps us develop great relationships, and it starts by understanding ourselves, because if you can't understand your emotions, chances are that you cannot understand what others are feeling as well. So going back to the previous points, to develop empathy, start meditating and digging deeper into yourself. Understand how you talk to yourself, to understand how others, where others are coming from. Empathy doesn't mean necessarily that we are able to fully understand someone and put ourselves in their shoes, but it's also about accepting them for who they are, even if we don't understand them fully, and especially if we don't understand fully what they might be going through. People with high empathy tend to be kinder, but it doesn't mean that they will not be able to give feedback or act in a stricter way when situation demands it. Actually, people who are highly emotional intelligent and with high empathy can give tough feedback as tough love, because they know that that will help the other person improve. To help us improve our social awareness, we can start by actively listening to others, sharing our own feelings to help us others, to create that space of vulnerability where others would start sharing as well and open up. And then again, meditation, journaling, things that will help you with social awareness as well. And then something that is very helpful is also reading fiction, actually, because when you read fiction, reading literature, you are putting yourself in those characters, you're imagining yourself in their place. And that helps you to understand how people react in certain situations. The fifth trait of emotional intelligence is social regulation, or also known as social skills, because once we have the social understanding, we need to put that information into action. And that is by developing social skills that allow us to develop better relationships with others and to use all the data that we have to action. To improve your social skills, start by learning about effective communications. A great book on the topic is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That's like the Bible on the topic. Work on your body language, uh, actively listen to others, work on your public speaking skills, and genuinely develop an interest in others. It is important to note here that high emotional intelligence and empathy do not necessarily come with compassion. People who might be high in emotional intelligence might be using all those skills for manipulating others. That's not what you want to do. Rather, start by infusing your EQ with great values. It is fundamental, because that's what will eventually lead you to a fulfilling life. Ultimately, we are what we choose to value, because our values will determine how we react, how we interact with others, and the type of life we create. So might be that even the most important emotionally intelligent skill that you can work on is to focus on developing your values. So today, just sit down for some time by yourself. Think about what are the things that you value most in life, and why is that you have those set of values. Have a clear idea on that. With that said, I hope you found today's video insightful. If you have suggestions for some other topics that you would like me to talk about, do leave them in the comments below. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep learning, keep evolving, and stay awesome.